Welcome to the Nicole Small Show, where we give you straight talk with no chaser. Here, we discuss issues from the White House to your house. And now, here's your host, Nicole Small.
Good morning. And what am I doing? Hold on, y'all. 1 second. I'm sorry. I got to get this lighting together. Hold on. I still can see a glare. Okay, I don't know. We're going to make this work. All right, good morning. Welcome to the Nicole Small Show. Today is Monday, May 24th, holiday weekend this weekend. So a couple of things to talk about. Where do I begin? Let's talk about what's going on with the governor. I see that she was busted not following her own orders. Again, she claims that everybody was vaccinated and they pushed all the tables together and she didn't think about it. Well, it looked like to me that she was at a bar. I don't know about pushing tables together, but it is what it is. She's given out a little information, right, about flying down to Florida to go see her father while our numbers are extremely high. And this whole thing about people being vaccinated, thinking that they could break the rules, but she still want to have the rules. I don't know. I just think that I have other issues. Let me just say that. So that was one thing that I saw. A lot happened last week that we need to talk about. Let me say this before I go into the whole lawsuits against the election commission, before I get into all of that and trying to remove the charter from the ballot, which is it should be a huge concern to anybody. Do you notice how there are so many things going on around the election this year? And it seems as if there's some type of test experiment going on to see how far the opposition can go to oppress Detroiters. And let me be a little bit more specific. So we have a Secretary of State that basically wants us to not be able to go to the polls. There are some questions around trying to vote from home. Well, says who? And why would we want that to happen in the first place, considering how we know how there is a lot of cheating with the whole electronic process in itself? So that's one thing. Then we have this attempt to suppress the vote of Detroiters. And we see that that's not only coming from the mayor's administration, but my goodness, it's also coming from Black leadership. And I think that this is very dangerous. And we need to understand what's actually happening. We also have almost $1 billion coming into this city, and no one has said anything about a plan on how to spend that money. Just think about that. Almost $1 billion. We've known for more than 2 months now that almost $1 billion is coming into the city, and there's not one plan in place to talk about how these dollars will be spent. We know that we do have a deficit, which is small in comparison to the amount of money that we're going to get from last year, and that's only $70 million. And I keep saying this to you because we need to demand how we want to see this money spent. That's just the bottom line. Otherwise, they're going to take it and hand it off to other people who don't even live here, right? And it's not going to actually benefit Detroiters. So all of this is going on. Then we have 2 lawsuits pending against the election commission. Now, this is the part that really kills me. You have, and let me pull this up because I want to get the man's name right. So we have Reverend Horace Sheffield, along with a Roderick Harbin, Harbin. They have a lawsuit of claims that the election commission should not have put the ballot, the question for the charter on the ballot because it did not go through the city council for a 2/3 approval. Let me be clear. No, there's nothing that says that it needs to go through the city council for approval. Number two, no other charter that has been approved to be on the ballot has ever gone through city council. So where is this coming from? And you know, it amazes me how we have a majority of Black men who have not reached out to the charter commission, have not been a part of the process, yet and still they're not standing against the charter. What they're standing in opposition of is Detroiters that have their rights to make a decision. And that's the narrative that we need to start putting out there, is that they are diametrically opposed to Detroiters who voted. We spent money to have that on the ballot to vote whether or not you wanted the charter open. The Detroiters voted yes. When they voted yes, a 9-member board was elected, period. We have done our due diligence. We went through all 500 and some odd revisions that have been submitted by the public. And you mean to tell me that you will go to such great lengths? And I am so disappointed at how easily Mike Duggan can manipulate Black people to oppress their own community. It's absolutely, it's so disheartening, right? Because you wasn't that passionate about the charter because you didn't even attend one of the meetings, neither one of them. And we leave space, and I think it's a huge conflict of considering that the commission leaves space from Horace Sheffield at Dabo. One second, y'all. We got to get this guest on. We leased space from Dabo for 2 years. For 2 years. And so you take our money to lease space, you don't participate in the process, so now you just automatically oppose. And my biggest issue is the things that he's saying are not a revision in the charter, right? So then let's move to the other lawsuit. You have what's the lady name from Dykema? Irma somebody. I'll get her name together. Good friends with Sheila Cockrell. Because the first thing I said is, well, I'm waiting for Sheila Cockrell to sue us too, because you know she sits on all the meetings taking notes for Duggan and everything. Well, she did us one better. She got one of her good activist friends to go and to put in a lawsuit for the same thing. Then it gets better than that. So Friday, what do you call them? The Detroit caucus delegation holds a meeting where they allow for one of Duggan's appointees to come and do a presentation opposing the charter. Well, this wasn't a public meeting. That should be the first question. You know, the first issue that we have, first issue that we have with them. Second part is, so now they have to allow the charter commission to come and do a presentation, which they should. Ingrid White is her name. And so with that said, hold on, let me get this together. How do I do this? Can I invite somebody while we're gonna get Commissioner Winder on here. Hold on one second. No. Okay, I'm back. Why do we have two Nicole Smalls? All right, that works. Y'all just bear with me for 1 second. I don't really know how to do this. Okay, I think I got it. Just hold on. Commissioner Winder, check your email. I just responded to an email you sent me with the link, Barbara. And then you could just log on and join this conversation. All right, that's multitasking. So anyway, there was a presentation by, I believe her name is Stephanie Washington or something, at in front of the Detroit caucus on Friday. This wasn't made public or anything, which is what you really should take issue with, because shouldn't that be a Open Meetings Act if they have a quorum? So that's one thing. Well, come to find out, this is what I hear as a Friday afternoon, is that Brian Banks was a part of it, Buzz Thomas, and I don't know if Conrad Malice was actually there. Now, we knew Buzz Thomas was already opposing the charter, and his consulting company was getting paid. Remember, we already knew that. And so now I'm hearing that Brian Banks is a part of it. I did try to reach out to Brian to confirm that, but here it is again. All these Black men that Mike Duggan is rallying together to oppose Detroiters having a right in order to vote and to make a decision. Where were they at for a proposal in? Oh, well, we know Horace was supporting it because he was with Duggan. But where were the rest of you on proposal in? You didn't come help us oppose that. How disgusting is this? You gonna help suppress the vote of a Black and brown community? I don't see any Hispanics, any Latinos up there. Only Black people, Black men. And you're well, this Ingrid lady is also opposing a vote. But I want you to think about what this really means. This is not just voter suppression. If they get away with this, I said this before, this is going to help. This is going to help support what the agenda really is, which is the demise of Black political power in the city of Detroit. That's what I truly believe that the goal is. And if you tell us what we can and what we can't vote for, and you have Black men who are supporting a white man who is trying to take your rights away from you to make a decision about whether or not you want these revisions in your city's constitution, how dangerous is that? Not just that he's trying to do it, Duggan, but the fact that he's able to get a group of Black men to support this type of behavior. When the Home Rule City Act clearly states that we have followed the process, we have been compliant, and that you Detroiters have a right to see this question on the ballot. Let's bring in our guest, Barbara Winder. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Thank you. Very well. Yourself?
Good, good, good. We have a lot going on.
It's been a busy week.
Right?
It was a busy week last week, right?
Yeah.
Everybody saw to it that we sat up straight, paid attention, read every word. We were definitely given homework, huh?
Yeah. Oh, weren't we? We were given quite a bit of homework. How many pages was that lawsuit from Dykema?
Dykema. It was so many pages that Judge Kinney himself had to laugh. He gave a little smirk, didn't say anything. Something to the effect of 500 pages, really?
Yeah.
It was 474. 474 pages to request a writ of mandamus and an injunction to a TRO, a temporary restraining order, or an injunction to make the clerk do what they think she should do, and to keep her from putting the question of whether or not the charter question should be placed on the ballot. I was not impressed at all.
You weren't?
No, I could not imagine having to spend 474 pages to ask the court to do that. Now, I realized that they had exhibits that were attached, but even if they attached the whole charter, that was only 147 pages. So 300 some pages went to their pleadings. And when
you talk about billable hours, Barbara, wouldn't that would be very costly, wouldn't it?
Oh, I would imagine. You know, this is another incident of the taxpayers paying to sue themselves. This is the most ridiculous situation I have ever heard of in my life. The taxpayers, you and I, and all of our friends, and all of our neighbors, and people we don't even know in this city who pay taxes, are paying Dyke McGossick and Honigman Miller to
Oh, they're
sue
really expensive.
us, right? Now, if I'm wrong, I hope I'm corrected. I will look forward to having the mayor step forward or send his surrogates to tell us that he's paying for this out of his own kitty, that it is not coming out of the taxpayers' money. And that's perfectly fine if that's the way that he wants to use his contributors' money, and his contributors think it's a fine use of their money. But for now, I'm standing on the fact that we're using taxpayers' money to pay them to sue us. And I'll maintain that until someone tells me that I'm wrong. And if I'm wrong, I'm just wrong. I will certainly admit it.
Not that they tell you that you're wrong. We want to see the proof because we don't really
Okay.
trust a lot of what they say.
Well, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And I'll let you be my lawyer on that. You can
Okay.
demand
We want to see the proof.
the evidence. Demand the evidence. Demand the evidence. Yes. So
Friday, Judge Kenny granted the Charter Commission a what?
He granted our motion. We made a motion to interplead. That is asking the court, please give us permission to be a party to this lawsuit because we see ourselves as being an indispensable party. And in fact, if we had not prevailed on that, we would be out of court right now anyway, because if he had ruled that the clerk had to remove the question from the ballot, then we're done. That's it. So he granted our motion, which was brought by the competent and ever capable General Counsel Lamont Satchel, who made the argument, and the court granted the motion to interplead. So today, all of the rest of the pleadings have to be submitted to Judge Kenny, and tomorrow the arguments will pursue.
And we have until the first week of June, I believe, where a decision has to be made because ballots have to be printed by that date. So, I mean, I don't know that much about it. Do you think that we can actually resolve this issue by Friday?
Well, I don't know for sure that Friday is the drop dead date, but I do know that the ballots have to be printed, prepared, ready to go to be mailed by June 19th. That I do know. And what I also know is that the court treats election issues with favor, so that if they're brought before the court will expedite the hearing, the setting of all hearings, the reading of motion, granting of motions, everything. The court will give deference to political issues, election issues, I should say. And so Judge Kenny is well aware of that, and he's going to be ruling expeditiously, because no matter who wins on this on Tuesday, it's going to be appealed. It's going to be appealed. So then we're talking about the Court of Appeals and getting the pleadings to them, having them review it and give a decision. And then no matter who wins there, it's going to be appealed. It's going to the Supreme Court.
So I just want to make sure that everybody has an understanding of the timeline, right? While we're not sure of a definitive date that this decision has to be made, just keep in mind, I believe you have to have the ballots printed a minimum of 7 business days at least prior to the date that they're supposed to be mailed. Absentee ballots must go out 45 days prior to the election, which is August 3rd. So that would actually be June 19th, which is a Saturday. So I would assume June 18th, which is a Friday, would be that deadline to mail out absentee ballots. Okay. So the Friday before June 18th would be June the 11th, right? So I'm assuming, and it's probably more than that. So I'm assuming between the 1st and the 4th of June a decision would have to be made. So if not, someone had said June the 1st, so maybe it's 14 days, but at the latest, I would say
June 4th.
between the 1st and the 4th,
Yes.
that a decision would have to be made. So we're looking at, another week and a half or so. But hopefully a decision will be made by the judge this week. And to your point, Barbara, I agree. There may be an appeal. I just wonder, right? I wonder if I know we would appeal. I don't know if the other side would appeal, the plaintiffs, only for the simple fact that I wonder will the Supreme Court, would they even pick this up? Because the language is so clear.
Well, you would have a right of appeal all the way up to the Supreme Court, the Michigan Supreme Court. I'm speaking of not the United States Supreme Court, but the Michigan Supreme Court. Yeah, we would have, each party would have a right to appeal all the way to them. So they would hear it. I'm sure that they would hear it. It's too hot of a potato to decline to hear. There's no way they would turn it down. So either way that it goes, I'm pretty sure that it's going to be appealed all the way to the Supreme Court, unless, of course, we get the good offices of the Attorney General and the governor to stand by their positions. And their position is that they have no way, no statutory means, no legal means to prohibit the Charter Commission from having their question put on the ballot. The governor has said that she has no way of doing that, and the AG has said the governor doesn't have any way of doing that. So it appears that the lawyers at Honigman and Dyke McGossett think that that's incorrect, that the Attorney General is wrong, and that the governor's legal staff is wrong. And they have a right to say that, but we also have a right to defend what we've been doing for the last 3 years and what citizens have been doing for the last 3 years, 2.5 years, and to defend our right to do that. And
you keep leaving out one governmental entity that also says that the AG and the governor is wrong. Corporation Counsel.
Corporation Counsel said that the AG and the governor is wrong. And as a matter of fact, that's how it all started primarily, because the governor and the AG had said that we had the right to do it. The Corporation Counsel said we didn't have the right to do it. And that sent the clerk into a tailspin, and she rejected and followed his legal advice. And then when the Election Commission met, she and President Jones of the City Council agreed that we did have the right. So he actually is the lone wolf in this, and he's the legal scholar who is advising the mayor, whom we pay to advise and defend us. Again, some more of our tax money going to pay his salary for opinions that he generates that favor the mayor. He represents the mayor in this issue. And, so again, some more of our tax dollars being spent this way. At some point, I'm hopeful that city residents of Detroit are going to wake up one day and say, wait, hold it, just a minute. Why are we suing ourselves? Why are we spending money to sue ourselves? I mean, if for no other reason, that to me is reason enough to be up in arms almost, to march around the Coleman Young Municipal Center and to march in force everywhere that the mayor appears, to let him know that you don't agree with the use of your funds to sue yourself. It's just ludicrous, Yeah.
Well,
so,
it seems to be a lot of money flowing from the city in order to sue ourselves. Unfortunately, when it comes to making sure that you have money coming from the city that actually benefits Detroiters, or actually, rights are wrong. Like, for instance, overtaxing. You can't find money for that. You're still looking, even though we gave you a resolution. When it comes to making sure that we have adequate lighting, that we make sure that we have safer neighborhoods, a host of things, that we have real development in our communities that we could benefit from, as opposed to people who really don't live here and just may frequent this city, that they benefit from. Just, you know, a host of things that we have, you know, what a quality health department and healthcare and things, you know, of that nature. And so it's just amazing to me how the money is always readily available
For the
for things
lawsuit.
like this, including, you know, us suing ourselves, but it's not readily available. They're always looking into it when it comes to making sure that you have funding for things that are really a priority and a need of Detroiters.
Sure, sure.
Um,
The whole water shut off issue. Look at all these people who needed some money to help pay their water bills. You
yeah,
could have, if you could dip into your war chest to bring a lawsuit, or you could use city money to pay for a lawsuit. Maybe there's a way that you could have used the same money to help subsidize those people. You know,
yeah.
we need a proactive, positive acting mayor and administration as opposed to a punitive administration. People who look to penalize you for everything that they can, as opposed to trying to discover new ways of dealing with your issue, helping you out as in under the good neighbor policy and good administrative policy. You know.
And then also, we also need a city council, a majority city council, seeing how they control the purse strings,
Yeah.
um, to stop some of this foolishness. You
Yes.
know, you see an abuse of spending city funds, and you don't speak up to say anything, and you're the person who approves the budget and everything. That's quite alarming as well. Um, I hope that we see some changes in 2021, of course, but again, getting back to what we see happening. So it was a couple of things that I mentioned before you came on. We have almost $1 billion coming into this city.
Yep.
Haven't heard anything about it, about how those funds are going to be used.
Right.
Then I want to bring light to this election this year. And I hope that people understand, Barbara, that none of this just so happened, you know, by accident. It's all intentional. We have a mayor who is definitely opposed to the charter, but is a is drunken with power, right? He is a power nut. So in my opinion, I just find it strange that this year, of where he definitely stands a greater chance of being challenged, right?
Mm-hmm.
That we only have a primary election in District 1,
Mm-hmm.
District 4, and District 7, and at large.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so, and that there's a host of board of police commissioner seats, which he likes to have control over the board of police commissioners,
Mm-hmm.
where we won't have maybe two board of police commissioners will have a primary. People need to understand, so that money he has in his war chest, he really doesn't have to spend a lot of money on this primary, right? And
Right.
it's a great chance that the charter will remain on the ballot. Historically, Detroiters have always supported the charter, but
Mm-hmm.
honestly, we've never had a mayor to come out and speak against it, because
Right.
every other previous mayor knew their role and knew their place and didn't jump out of their lane.
Mm-hmm.
Unlike this, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And so people need to understand, we have $1 billion. We have somehow all of these people who didn't make the ballot. Then we have Black leadership who are influential to other Detroiters opposing the charter, but more importantly, taking action to suppress the vote and possibly destroy our political power.
Mm-hmm.
All of this is happening at the same time. So, I say it's a lot of distractions going on, but because the media tends to align with the mayor's narrative, I don't know if everyone is understanding what's actually taking place and how there is an attack that has been launched against a majority of Detroiters.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Definitely. This is a very exciting time, and it's a great time actually for people to have been involved by way of putting themselves on the ballot. All of these
Mhm.
people who have an agenda and a list of things for you and me to do could have stepped forward and put their name out there and become active and instrumental in doing some of the things that they ask us to do. And I don't mean as charter commissioners. I mean both as charter commissioners and as individual citizens. People are always, Barbara, why don't you do this? Barbara, why don't y'all do this? Why don't you do this, Barbara? Barbara, do you know how? Every You can go anywhere for people asking you. And to the extent that I have the information, I'm happy to share it. But there are capable and competent people walking around this city who give service to nothing except lips and, move on. They don't want to become involved in politics. They don't want to become involved in the school system. They don't want to become involved in the healthcare system. They just want to collect their check, go home, have their Friday and Saturday barbecue, and pretend that life is great. Well, maybe life is great for you, but it's not so great for a whole lot of our fellow citizens, and in some ways not for myself. And to the extent that you can actually help to impact this, you should want to volunteer and become active in this process. I agree with you that not all of this is by happenstance. A lot of this is by design. We have, for instance, even though she sometimes supported the Charter Commission and sometimes not, and sometimes support things that I like and sometimes doesn't, we have a city councilwoman in my own district who's running unopposed. Unopposed. This is crazy. How she's not that good. Nobody's that good to be able to run.
Oh, I said the same thing. We are really handing over our power too. The fact that you don't oppose somebody in the most gentrified district of this entire city.
Right. And unopposed. You should have an opposition just so that there can be a debate. If for no other reason, there should be a debate. Everything is not hunky dory and coming up roses over in our district. So I don't understand the apathy of the electorate. I don't understand it. They seem to be very pleased with what's going on. But I can tell you, just as you said, if people sit home, don't participate, and let this election go by and let it be business as usual, you can kiss your power that Coleman Young brought to you in 1974 goodbye, because you're going to be pre-74 and you may be pre-1950. We don't know how that's going to wash out, but you've got a chance now to elect a younger, more vibrant, more progressive, more intelligent, more educated member of our society as the mayor of this city. And people who don't take advantage of voting for Anthony Adams, shame on you.
They don't really want to.
Let's
take a caller. Good morning. Welcome to the Nicole Small Show. Do you have a question or comment?
Yes, good morning. I really think this is another good morning. I really think it's important for us to begin to look at who are these law firms representing these people who are clearly using our money against our own interests. We should have tickets against government. We should have tickets. These are people making millions of dollars for trying to keep people in Detroit poor, using our money against us like it's our own dollars. I think that we should have organizations begin to picket against the law firms.
Did you hear what she said, Barbara?
We should be doing it to Dykema.
She's saying that we should be picketing the law firms, is what she's saying. But what about these community leaders?
Right. I totally disagree. I totally could disagree with that. The law firms are trying to make a living. These people are trying to make a living.
Big law firms. Jones Day backed out of supporting Trump after the election. They were supporting Trump on his lies, and they got embarrassed and backed down. Jones Day actually got embarrassed.
But think about this, though, Elena. If we picket those law firms, we're not going to take away any of their business. I mean, 9 times out of 10, the people who are their clients, they are not of our ilk. Okay, let's just be honest. And so I don't think that they would be exposed, though. But hold on. Sometimes I think we need to be more strategic.
Really?
And I think that we should utilize our efforts where we would have a greater impact. And I get what you're saying about the law firms, but expose them to whom? The
And for
people
what?
who are supporting us are not using them anyway, Elena.
Right.
But I tell you what, there are a lot of people in this community who are supporting these so-called leaders who live right here in this city. If you want to talk about who you are going to be in opposition of, and that type of, wait a minute, that type of exposure can have an impact to where they won't have a huge line wrapped around their buildings or supporting their program, so they won't get as much money. I just personally don't see what type of financial impact or credibility impact would we have if we go and picket these law firms. That's all that I'm saying.
Right.
And how we gonna go to them before we go to our own, who've been chinning and grinning in our faces, and who make money, wait a minute, let's talk about how they make money now. Let's be clear. They make money because they have a certain percentage of our people who align with their values and make them the so-called popular leaders in this community. If they didn't have us supporting them, they would not be called to the table to oppress us.
First of all, I disagree with that proposition to boycott or to demonstrate around the law firms. People have a right to make a living. They chose the law. That's what they're doing. They have not forced anybody from anywhere to come to their office and hire them. The people who went to them and hired them are the people we elected. That's who you need to demonstrate around. That's who you need to protest to. That's where you need to take your action. I would like to see Horace Sheffield. I would like to see Horace Sheffield gather up 200 people to do anything other than get in line to get a free box of food or whatever it is that he's giving away. I am not opposed to people getting what they need, but my point is Horace Sheffield represents himself and no one else, and in some cases he's an embarrassment to the legacy of his father. His father was a stand-up, talk straight man. I knew his father. I knew his father's reputation. I knew what his father did. Horace Sheffield is an embarrassment to what his father stood for by standing out here supporting our brother. Excuse me?
She hasn't said anything, Councilwoman Sheffield. She hasn't said anything. And I am quite surprised because I keep saying this. She was a part of, she was one of the people supposed to be leading the Bill of Rights. So, I definitely question, what her thoughts are around this, but we haven't heard anything. We haven't even heard her come out publicly and say that she's opposed to people trying to get this ballot off of the question off of the ballot. So I don't know.
Right.
I don't know what
a charter that she voted for, a charter that she worked on, rather, a charter that she worked on. She has not even articulated an expression of support for the section that she worked on. How can you remain so quiet? She's in my district. I'm going to keep that in mind, Mary. This is from me to you, just in case you're listening. I'm keeping that in mind when I go to the polls. I realize that you're running unopposed and you don't have to have my vote so that even, if you vote for yourself, you'll win and nobody else votes for you. But I'm disappointed because you had indicated support for the Charter Commission. You worked on the Declaration of Rights, the bill for the people. You had a strong input, and you came together as well at the council table with Councilwoman Lopez and supported us on several occasions. Why are you so quiet? The silence is deafening. It's like, pregnant silence. When is it going to break open and deliver something? We're waiting to hear from you.
No, we definitely needed to hear from her. There's a lot going on, and to not take a position on it is concerning. That's all I'm gonna say. It's quite concerning, and I don't know if
I'd like to say one more thing, just as a member of the Latino community. I am really happy that not one single Latino or Latina stood up with those puppets of Duggins to oppose the charter being on the commission. I'm really ashamed that Lawrence Garcia claims Latino heritage and the police commission, a mouthpiece for Duggan, whoever that is. I never saw him in my life. I'm ashamed of the Latino representation that's out there doing this, and I'm proud that there weren't any Latinos out there acting like those fools.
Yeah.
I'm proud as well, and I'm supporting you, Elena. I'm proud of that as well. I noted that when I looked at it. We should also mention that perhaps corporate counsel Lawrence Garcia is trying to position himself for a federal judgeship. Maybe he thinks that by opposing the people in Detroit that he'll get some leverage. People will be more interested in him if he becomes involved in a controversy. And if he thinks that, then he's definitely spot on, because this is a controversy and there is lots of attention being paid to it. I don't know if it's the kind that is going to garner him a federal judgeship, but we're here for you, Larry.
Yeah, because he definitely wants that federal judgeship. And then
I want to say one more thing about that federal judgeship. That several members across the state of the Latino community that are very concerned that we have not ever had a federal judge appointed by the Senate in Michigan, have never had that, have met with Peters and Stabenow and put forth a candidate that the people collectively wanted, who's a woman, who's a judge, who's very well qualified. And they told us, no, you should put somebody else forward. So I have a feeling that they want us to put forth Lawrence Garcia. So Duggan must be pushing for that. We'll see about that.
Yeah, I don't know about the Latino community putting forth somebody who's going to be in a position of high office like that to oppress his own people, because that's exactly what he would do. He's already shown that. Thank you, Elena, for calling.
If they appoint him, he will be doggedly opposed by the Latino community.
Good. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
And then regarding these people running unopposed, including Mary Sheffield, I wondered, did somebody do a write-in campaign?
Right. I have no idea. I was approached about that, but I have my work on the table for me right now. And
yes.
Yeah.
Because they will be on a general ballot. I need to find out how many people have filed write-in campaigns to see who's actually going to be opposed. That will be interesting. So let's talk about what's going to happen today at 1:00.
Okay.
Financial Review Commission.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it's been 3 weeks since the city deputy CFO presented to the Financial Review Commission. And so today is the 24th. This is our date that we have been scheduled to actually do a presentation. And this is around, just so everybody knows, the presentation today is in regards to this exorbitant amount of money that the mayor claims and his administration claims that the passing of the charter will cost the city. So as you know, we already have stated that these numbers have been inflated. And so it's our opportunity to come again and speak to the Financial Review Commission, but in front of the public, right? Mm-hmm. So they can have a better understanding of how just inflated these numbers are. What do you think we should gauge? Like, what outcomes should we get out of this, Barbara?
Well, I'm hopeful that the commission will either decide to perform its own financial analysis so that it can come up with a decision and an understanding that is not founded or based in hyperbole, but is based in fact. And if they should obtain an expert, or if they have one on board who can look through the document that was presented by the mayor's office, which showed his projection for cost, and they can make a thorough analysis. I'm hopeful they will do that, because I know that if they do that, they will realize that the numbers are just not proper. They're inadequate. They are they're false numbers. They're pretense numbers. They're numbers that were pulled out of the hat along with the rabbit and they will be able to determine for themselves what are true numbers. As the Charter Commission has done through research, we have come up with a position that these numbers are false, and here's the information to document the fact that they are false. Um, so I'm hopeful that will be a result, and then as a result of that, that the FRC, the Financial Review Commission, will be satisfied that our proposed charter will not send the city into bankruptcy, will not jeopardize the city by sending it into bankruptcy, but is a reasonable document proposed by the citizens. I am hopeful that they will see then that we will be in a position to have people support it, and that they will step back and let us move on. That's what I'm hopeful will happen.
Well, I'm hopeful that there's a distinct understanding, not only by the Financial Review Commission, if we could get them on the record to also give a statement to question the numbers that the city has put forth, right? It would be great to have that kind of support. Not saying that, they support the charter, they don't support the charter, but to lend some credibility to the fact that, we were right, that these numbers are alarming. They have not been supported in any manner. And I would think that the Financial Review Commission will be able to look at some of these numbers and to see what is actually going on. So I hope that happens. More importantly, I hope that the public further understands that this is more than just about the charter going on the ballot. This is about a mayor abusing his power. This is about a mayor along with some other elected officials, because keep in mind that meeting that happened on Friday with the Detroit caucus, it was an effort to get the Detroit delegation at the state level to oppose the charter, to try to mobilize them. That's very dangerous, because if that's the case, you will have a mayor, several council members who have been on the record saying they oppose the charter. Then you would have state and state reps, House reps, senators, and the governor and the AG.
Yes.
And all of this coming from the mayor's office. That's a lot of influence that he has. And people who are supporting him, you better be careful about the monster that you're creating.
That is very true. In addition, the mayor should be concerned himself long about now about some of the situation that he has created by suggesting to the world that this charter will cost $2.5 billion and will send the city into bankruptcy. I mean, I think that the bond market might be concerned about the stability of Detroit's economics, and it might put him and the businessmen who go to the bond market in a bad position should this charter pass and he is disclosed to be a liar. I mean, he's going to be, that's what's going to happen. The people are going to realize in the business community that he was a liar, that he has put these numbers out here and they are not creditable, that we were correct in what we've said, and that the charter as we've written it has a lot of revisions that are aspirational. They are not mandated, and that there are no costs to aspiring to be a healthy, productive city where your people are happy because they have recreation for their children, they have safety, they have security, they have good lighting, they can walk the streets again. I mean, sometimes you walk, if you're out after dark and you drive through the neighborhoods and all, you don't see a soul on the street. There used to be a time in Detroit when people were walking about, moving about, going places. You don't do that anymore because you can't do it because it's not safe and secure. So when all of this happens and he is disclosed to be the liar that he is about these numbers, then he should want to find a place to hide. And of course, we're going to count on him not being in office. So Anthony Adams will then be able to correct all of his bad judgments and errors, and he'll take take the true facts to the bond market, and we'll be in a better position.
Well, that absolutely we need that to happen, and we need it to happen this year. Let's take a caller. Good morning. Welcome to the Nicole Small Show.
Good morning, Commissioner Nicole, and good morning, Commissioner Barbara. I just want to say, make this statement about what you just said about Duggan and the state legislature. First of all, let's remember now, State Senator Bullock was on Mayor Duggan's staff. He was pushing her. He was pushing a lot of people in those positions, in those state reps position, and also in the state senator's position. So that's one of the things that, as citizens of the city of Detroit, we need to look at. Why was it so important for the mayor to be trying to push somebody in the legislative body instead of you take care of business down here? And then you have to watch who we vote for when they say things. They say things, but then we need to watch their action. And a good example is my state representative, Helena Scott. She was saying, I asked her that. I said, are you an independent person? No, I'm not an independent person, but yet and still, here your picture was in the paper. And your picture was all over Facebook with Mike Duggan. So you lied to try to your mouth. See, this is some of the things that we have to watch who we vote for.
No, you're absolutely correct, and hold them accountable because their election is up next year. You know what I mean? We will be voting for these representatives.
And and some of the things is, my niece was saying too. My niece and my sister, Brenda Scott, and I were very good friends, and her mother was a very good friend of my father and my godmother. And I know to this day, if things are going now, I know Nancy would not be pleased with her. And my niece would always tell people, she's not Brenda Scott's sister, it's her sister-in-law, okay? And I would tell my niece, I know that. She said, well, you need to tell her that. But I'm just saying, you got to watch what these people say.
Yeah, now I'm really surprised at her, too. She didn't reach out. And I know we both have each other's number. She hasn't reached out to me. And to my understanding, Representative Scott hasn't reached out to any of the other commissioners. So for her to oppose the charter, you know what? I don't care if Mike Duggan supports you. So what? Why do our people feel like they have to be so beholden to him? What he gonna do? Take back his endorsement? It's too late. You've already won. That's the part that I really and truly don't understand. It is some type of hold that he has over these black folks that really is just mind-boggling to me for a few pieces of silver or to be validated by him. This is so dangerous.
Now, let me just add here. You mentioned the few pieces. Hold on a moment. You mentioned the few.
That's right.
You're supposed to be an independent thinker.
Well.
Right.
What? No, and more importantly, Mike Duggan is not her constituent. Wait a minute. Thank you. But you know what? More importantly, Mike Duggan is not Elena Scott's constituent. He does not live in her district. But the people who live in your district, you're gonna strip them of their rights to vote. Go ahead, Barbara.
Yeah. Now you mentioned the small pieces, a few pieces of silver. This is what's amazing to me. When you look at the contribution list and you see what has come to these state reps from the mayor's office, the most that I have seen that he has contributed to any of them is $2,000. Are you that $2,000? Are you that cheap?
Yes.
$2,000. $2,000 will buy you. How can you undervalue yourself? So look at the position you're in. The position that you're in, first of all, merits more than $2,000. How can you sell yourself so cheaply? I'm appalled at that. So why, as you said, why do you feel that you have such a great obligation to this man who's only giving you $2,000? I don't understand that. I'm sure you could do one of those Friday, Saturday, Sunday barbecues in the park somewhere and raise $2,000 for sure.
But a lot of them don't want to put in the work.
You see, that's
So
what it is.
that's a whole nother issue. A lot of them don't want to put
Yes,
in that level of work.
right.
A lot of them just want to be a title holder,
Yes. Oh,
not a
we've got a
public
plenty of
servant.
those. We've got a plenty
Right.
of those in various and sundry places.
Yeah. Well, see, and this is the difference, when you know that they just again they want the title, and not the title of whatever office they're running for, not the title of being a public servant.
Right.
Because if you're a public servant, then you would know that your role and responsibility is to put in the work for the people.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Okay.
And that's where I think that there's a distinct difference between some of these people who actually run for office. But I'm gonna tell you now, they're outnumbering us as public servants now, the ones who are getting elected, and that's questionable. And I keep saying, if you want better, you better vote better this year, and you better vote better next year as well.
Really, really, absolutely.
That's your responsibility.
Absolutely.
You can't keep saying, listen, if y'all want me to win on council, if you want anybody else to win this year, if you can't think of 10 people you didn't talk to tell them to vote for us and to tell everybody else that they know that they're going to vote in August, then you're not doing your job.
Right.
That is your responsibility if you really want change.
Right.
Look at what they are doing to us. We ain't never had this many people. They kicked off the ballot. Now we don't have a lot of primaries. Then you got money coming in. Oh, and I just received a text. Mike Duggan was speaking at a District 7 meeting. Now brace yourself for this one, Barbara. Brace yourself.
Okay.
He wants input on how to spend the money.
Yes.
Watch out.
Of course he does.
Look at that.
I'm glad
been
you brought
saying
it up.
that for about a month now.
Well, and so have the people. I'm glad you brought it up, because when you brought it up earlier, it reminded me that I've been reading on social media. I've been reading in emails from organizations and people who have organized themselves into groups saying, how are we going to spend the money? Let's organize and give some input into the mayor on how we want to see the money spent. So he finally heard their cry and heard their reaction, and now he's going to act on it, which is what he does. The moment that the Charter Commission said that it wanted to do various and sundry things in the charter, then he began to do some of those things already, so that he can say he's doing them. He's doing them, and the people will believe that he's been doing it all along. But the fact of the matter is that he hasn't. He's just started doing it once you gave him the idea, because he did not have you in mind at all. And I can assure you that going ahead, just as he did with the CACs and the district councils and all of the other citizen input vehicles, he is going to let you meet as often as you want to and ignore you. That is what's going to happen. It's not going to matter to him at all. So yes, he's going to have these meetings, and he'll be giving away all kind of goodies at them, because I understand he does.
Yes, he will. And he'll be taking advantage of photo ops and media in general, with the people standing next to him. But keep in mind, how many times has the mayor said he wants our input, and then instead of getting parking, we get sidewalks that are built for semi trucks, like on Livernois? Yes. How many times has the mayor said, oh, well, I want your input, and then we get bike lanes that people can drive down instead of more narrow bike lanes and fixing other sidewalks? Right. I mean, he does this all the time, So what I've been proposing for some time now, is this. Each district, instead of just these groups who come from different districts with a common cause, each district should come together and put up a proposal to spend about $100 million. Right. Okay. For their district. Right.
Yes. That takes care of 700 million of the 800.
That's right. Plus we got another 180 million that's coming in for neighborhoods and nonprofits. See, that's how we about to get to this $1 billion. Right. So the city will have more than enough to pay off the 70 million in deficit from last year and have a buffer for this year. But if each district comes together and puts together a proposal that means, you know what, even the more impoverished areas, communities in those districts can get some love too, instead of it just always going to the more affluent neighborhoods, right? Because they feel like they vote more, that they matter more. No, that's not it. So each district should do that, and then that's how, you know what, that's how you back him into a corner. Because if he starts to respond to one district over another, then you know what's going to happen. Then folks going to get mad, and then we won't be the only few pushing back against him, exposing him for who he is. I'm just saying it's perfect. Let's take a caller. Good morning. Welcome to the Nicole Small Show. Hello, you have a question or comment?
Yes. And I looked at your, and I go on your Facebook, and I saw when you was talking to this lady, you know, when you run, I know you run for city council, and you was talking to this lady, and you were making perfect sense. And what I did was I just shared that and sent it to some people, let them know who you were, and I've been going down my block, and I'm going to go down the block, like you said, 5 blocks east, 5 blocks west. And I just let them know who you are. And I got another guy that I'm also interested in that I knew since he was a kid that was running. But they got this guy's signs all over the place over here on the east side of Detroit. Tulsa Knight, I never heard of him. I don't know if you heard of him.
Yeah, I heard of him. I sure have.
I got to do some reading on him because I know I never heard of people, and then you know they find all in the yard. You're never gonna see them again, and if they get elected, you definitely ain't gonna see them again.
Do you live in that district?
District 4, yeah.
Okay, so you should, maybe you remember him. He worked for Duggan. He is a staunch supporter of Duggan. Now he will argue you down about that Mike Duggan. He was one of the deputy district managers or something like that at one point. You know, he's a young brother. Now I'm gonna say this. I said this last week. He is really putting in the work. He has been out there on the doors for a couple of months now. And some of the other people that are more popular have not. So they have some catching up to do. I don't know him personally. I know that he has reached out to me since he has started running. My only experience with Mr. Knight is that when there were a group of majority Black women, seasoned Black women, protesting against what they felt were unjust and unfair elections in front of Janice Winfrey's house, he posted, because there was some concerns about, you know, Tyrone Winfrey, Janice's husband, turning on the water and having his Rottweiler out there. He said that he would have turned on his whole sprinkler system, and he would have sicked his pit bulls on them. After that, I just said, you know, that's young brother, you lost. I felt like he was kind of lost the way he would argue people down about Mike Duggan, but I really felt like he was lost to post that statement on Facebook. And I felt that it was quite alarming. How can you best represent your community making statements like that? We all know that during the civil rights movement, there was a movement to ensure that we had fair voting rights, right? And our people too were hosed down in the middle of the street, and German shepherds were sicked on them. So I just think for him to make that type of statement, and some of the other statements, you know, I do disagree with him about Duggan, but that statement just left a very, very bad disposition with me regarding him. But you know, he claims that he wants to help the community. That's what his platform is about. But all I can tell you is that's what he posted. That has been my experience, that he's a strong supporter of the mayor. He's still advocating that the mayor has done a great job. So you have to make that type of decision if that's who you want to represent you.
Not me. I have I'm with someone else on that position for the district. But yes, you know, I'm so sick of you know, I listen to another station down. Well, you're not on the station, but and you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And, you know, listening to these shows, and they talking about especially this particular person on Friday nights. You know, they're not running. I guess they stepped down and they're not running. But
Sharon McPhail.
I'm sure McPhail, yeah. They were just talking, do you think there's anybody that can beat Doug? And she just came out and said no. And then they started talking about the people that's running against Doug. Why, like you said, why talk about the people that's running against Doug when we should be trying to get Doug out of here?
Yeah.
I don't understand that at all. That's you know, and I voted for her every time she ran, and I was disappointed, very disappointed to hear that type of nonsense going on.
But you know what? And this is my point. These same people who claim to be so opposed to Duggan, and the person who really wanted to promote her, this is my thing. You wonder why we don't win. You wonder why, if you are going to empower a white man who's not from here, who still doesn't even live in this city, you gonna say that he can't be beat? I wouldn't want you representing me anyway. You know, your mindset, that psychological warfare, I'm gonna tell you something. It is a mean weapon, okay, period. And for you to say that, I don't want you representing me in any capacity. Nobody can beat Duggan? That's so dangerous.
You were basically talking about these two people.
Yeah.
You know, and
her and Reggie Amos. Look, we say names on here. So her and Reggie Amos. Yeah, from the Detroit United. I get it.
Reginald. He's boy. But anyway. But bottom line.
Well, none of his people made the ballot anyway, so it don't matter.
Yeah, I know. And well, you said something about 1 o'clock today. Is that going to be on like a Zoom or something?
Yeah, go to.
About the budget? Yeah, I'd like to check that out.
It's under the Financial Review Commission. They should post it, but as soon as I get the link, I'll post it on my Facebook page.
Yeah, because you know, when I heard that Doug made that comment talking about with the charter, what they asking for is going to bankrupt the city. I said that's ridiculous. Any fool believe that? As much money they giving away through Kent City Council, if it haven't bankrupted the city by now, it never will. But you know, that's just a bunch of foolishness, and I just wish people stand up. And I'm gonna do my part. I'm gonna hit, like you said, five areas. And I've been telling people that you said that if they want you to meet them, walk down with street with them, you will.
Do you have any of my literature, or do I need to get you some literature?
I need to meet you and get a yard sign if you have one.
Yeah, we'll have yard signs within a week. Yep, we sure will.
Well, can you tell me where I meet you?
Yep, I'm gonna call you back on this number after the show. Is that okay?
You got my number?
Yep, I can see it on my caller ID.
Okay, that's great.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Yes, I want to say to this listener as well that that's a great idea, and that's a wonderful thing that he's doing. To walk the blocks and introduce the candidates to your neighbors, because people pay attention when they are familiar with you. They pay attention to what you're saying and who you're representing. This is something that I've done over in my community now since I don't even know how long. I've done it in the last 40 years, but that's what I do. I tell people I don't have a lot of money, so I can't give you big contributions, but I can introduce you to 385 households where at least one occupant is a voter. And, that's a very good thing to do. So I'm thanking him on behalf of the citizens for doing that for you.
I really appreciate it. And listen, this is a huge city to cover. And I know we have some people that will just listen to the person telling them who to vote for, but other people, they want to meet you. And that's what we really have been doing, is going out, speaking directly to as many voters as we possibly can, because we know that, this pandemic has done something, Unfortunately, people have not had an opportunity to get out and socialize, but so much information has been withheld. Let me say that. A lot of information has been withheld, and you would be surprised how many of the seniors don't know what date the election is.
Yes.
They don't know, even though I'm talking about running at large, because, and I see all of you on here. I'm going to get you a yard sign. If you want, please just text me your address on this 451-2228 number that's scrolling across the screen. But more importantly, a lot of them don't even know that they're not going to have a primary, and nobody has reached out to them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I find that so concerning, because we must educate our voters. I don't want you to just vote just because. You need to be well-informed voters as well,
Right.
and that's really important.
Right. That's a role for your city clerk. A good city clerk will have informed voters. They will know the process. In other words, they will pretty much take you back to the old civics classes in elementary and high school, so that you understand how your government works, how it functions, and that you need to participate in order for it to be successful, to have a real democracy. Otherwise, you don't have a democracy. You have someone else making the laws for you and carrying them out, implementing them. But if you understand the theories of democracy, when the primaries are being held, why they are being held, your precinct delegate is important in this role. They should also be out knocking doors with you to introduce people to the candidates and let them know who stands for what. They don't have to endorse either one until they decide, who they're going to endorse. But they should want to expose their block, their precinct to the people who are running in their precinct, so that they will be informed voters. That's democracy. Democracy is not getting elected and telling everybody, I'm the precinct delegate, and your next door neighbor doesn't know who you are or that you are.
Yes.
What is that?
part.
What is that?
Let's take another caller. Good morning. Welcome to the Nicole Small Show. Do you have a question or comment?
I just have a comment, Ms. Small. Ms. Small, one of the things that I want to say, and I'll be very brief, is that I'm hearing this defeatist attitude coming from individuals who I don't think it should be coming from.
Agreed.
Now, there is a problem here in the city of Detroit dealing with the voting process, but it's just not about the people not coming out to vote. Number one, people have to have a reason to participate in the electoral process. They may not know or understand how to get their opposition or their views addressed about that. So it is our responsibility to educate them. And we should not be coming out with this defeatist type attitude about elections here in this city. There are many reasons that I could name you. I'm not going to take the time to do so as to why people are not participating in the voting process here. Number one, the city clerk's office is fixed. It's fixed. So we need to address those types of issues. Number two, the people need to be educated as to why they should vote, who they should vote for, and what we need to do. We need to be united around that. And we need to focus the defeatist attitude to the curb. We cannot beat Mike Duggan, and we have individuals on there, prominent people, that you wouldn't think to hear. Ma'am, I'm not going to name any names, but I'll just say on the Adolph Mongo show, this past Saturday, I heard about the vote. About, we need to come out, but we know we need to do that. But let's give people a reason, a motivation, and let's keep building on that until the people get out and they start voting the way that they should. Thank you for taking my
I have one question for you. So would you agree that it's quite hypocritical of some of these so-called leaders who are supporting oppressing the vote around the charter, to then, to come next year, they're going to want to turn around for these gubernatorial elections, and they're going to want to try to pressure people into voting against a Republican. I think that that's part of our problem here too. If it's not partisan politics, then we think that it doesn't matter as much, right? But I find that to be a hypocritical approach. What do you think?
Ms. Small, here's my biggest problem. There's absolutely no doubt. These Republicans have taught me things about the voting process and being a minority. They've taught me very critical lessons about that. It's not exactly what the issues are. It's that staying together, staying united no matter what. They're teaching us what we need to do. I don't care what Mike Duggan has done
That's
I
right.
don't care what Janet Winfrey has done in the past. I don't care what that no good city council has done in the past. Why? Because my intent is to get rid of Mike Duggan, to get rid of that no good city council, and to change Janet Winfrey from the city clerk's office.
Amen.
Now, in order to do that, I need to be united. And everybody with me that have that same mindset, we need to be united. And no matter what, we're going to defeat Mike Duggan. We're going to defeat this corrupt city council that we have there, and we're going to install new ones. And we're going to do it this election. Thank you, ma'am, for taking my call.
Thank you so much. That's the only way to win.
Right.
But I too am a little. I'm really tired of this defeatist attitude. And Barbara, you heard it a lot too. Mm-hmm. When Anthony even first came out, you know, one of the first. Now here's a brother, right,
mm-hmm.
who has experience in government,
mm-hmm.
who understands the infrastructure of this entire city, from
mm-hmm.
water to schools to housing to development to
mm-hmm.
business development, right?
Mm-hmm.
Things like that. He is well versed in all of those areas. If you put Anthony Adams in office today, he would have less of a learning curve than Duggan. See, Duggan he would not make a better mayor, and he's not smarter than Anthony when it would come to leading government, but he's a better politician because he is a great manipulator of Black people, and that is how he wins. And then now you even have Tom Barrow, who is running,
mm-hmm.
who's a smart brother too. Not
mm-hmm.
gonna take anything away from Tom as well, but you have two Black men here. And then you got another Black brother that come out this weekend with this poll claiming that Tom Barrow only polled at 2%, you know, and you leading the Black caucus. And that attitude too is from the leader of the Black caucus. Who are you supporting in for mayor? If the leader of the state Black caucus, Keith Williams, can't support one of these two Black men running for mayor, what are you doing? And you putting out a poll, Mike Duggan's poll that he did not even say that Mike Duggan was polling at 64%. But Keith Williams and the Black caucus gonna put out a poll saying that Mike Duggan polling at 64%. Mike Duggan didn't even have himself polling at 64%. And see, these are the type of mind games and trickery that our own people put out there to keep us oppressed. So this whole theory about nobody can beat Mike Duggan, you damn right, as long as we have Black men and Black women in position. But again, I'm gonna go back to this, and I love my Black men. Lord knows that I do. But I'm just saying you have to stop stepping out publicly making these kind of statements, because at the end of the day, as strong of a Black sister that I am, we all know that there is a group of Black people who are looking for Black men to do what they're supposed to do, which is to stand up straight, stop being bent over, and to lead with consciousness and pride and strength, instead of always laying down and being a doormat. And I'm saying psychologically what we're doing to each other is causing more harm than what Mike Duggan could ever do. You could put Mike Duggan, Snyder together, and you could put Trump together. Put all three of them together. And they couldn't do as much harm as we're doing to each other by having our own to say that we can't even beat a white mayor that's not from here, who doesn't even live here. A white mayor who has shut off more than 250,000 homes to water. A white mayor who has taken contracts and given them to 80% of the contracts and taken our dollars that were supposed to help us stay in our homes, but you giving them to some white contractors. You know, a white man who gave his girlfriend some money using city resources, but then you turn around and tell Black folks it ain't no money for them.
Right.
Think about what that says even to our younger people.
Absolutely. And in addition to that, Miss Keith Williams, you don't have to do a survey for Mr. Duggan, doesn't have to do a survey to show that he can get 64% of the vote. He's got people like Keith Williams who are doing it for him. You know, Mike Duggan doesn't have to say a word. You got these people, again, I call them the prostitute surrogates. They step out and volunteer to do the work for him. And it's almost shameful that you would do that, because it shows that you don't think that you're capable. When, as you said, you have a younger black man, um, educated at Georgetown Law School,
Mm-hmm.
clerked his first job out of law school, clerked for the Honorable Anna Diggs Taylor as her law clerk, was hired in the administration of Coleman Young, probably at the age of less than 30, worked in the administration of Coleman Young, went out into the world and practiced law on his own, and then worked with other businesses as the general counsel, worked with Don Barton and Ella.
Don Barton. Now, why did you Bella Marshall?
Bella Marshall. Oh, Bella, forgive me for that. And Bella Marshall in development projects, has done development work. He was a successful partner in a development project over on the east side of Detroit, has been general counsel in another environmental corporation worldwide. Why would you think that he is not as capable and competent to run the administration of the city of Detroit as this interloper, as you said, who has come in from wherever he came in from, Livonia, who has wrecked everything that he has put his hands to at the DMC? He sold that off, and it's now in shambles. At the county, he and McNamara were doing whatever they were doing there, whatever it was. It caused poor McNamara to have a heart attack and died before the feds could get to them. And now he's at the city, and he won. Listen to this, people. He won his first election by way of a write-in. And the news said never before in the history of the country has this happened. How did a write-in candidate win in the city of Detroit when he won with a literacy rate, which means your ability to read, write, and comprehend, a literacy rate of 40%? To this day, if tested, I have 3 degrees. I've been around the world. I've got a lot of experience. To this day, I cannot tell you how to spell Michael Duggan's name. I have no idea whether he has 2 G's or 1. Why? Because I really don't care. I have no reason to want to know. I'm not going to sign his name. I'm not going to write his name in. But my point is that people who can't read and write don't know either. How and why would you think that he was successful in a write-in campaign? So now we've got him running the city, and he's about to take over the state, because he's got people like the governor who won't stand up and say, this is my opinion in this lawsuit, and I stand by it. This is what my legal staff has said. We've got the attorney general who won't stand up and say, this is our opinion, and I stand by it. We have them in a position where that's what they should be doing, and their response is that they don't want to get into the fight. Well, I'm serving notice. You're in the fight. You were in the fight when you came down here and asked us to vote for you.
That's right.
Detroit voted for you. And so you're going to come back again. You're going to come back again in another 2 years, and you're going to ask us to vote for you again. We're going to remember what you did. And we're going to remember, what's the saying? We're going to remember in November what you did for us last in the old theory of contract law. My question is going to be, what have you done for me lately? And
that's right.
I'm not going to remember everything. I'm making notes often now that I'm becoming a bit more, my memory is not as good as it used to be. I'm making notes, but I have a computer called Big Blue, and Big Blue does not forget. Big Blue has the information. Big Blue will let me know in a moment's notice. No, Miss Barbara, no, this is it. This is what they said. Don't you remember when? So I may not remember, but Blue remembers, and I'm going to count on Blue to keep me informed. Now, I'm not going to tell you all any more information about Blue, but if you don't have a computer like that, you need to get one. If you're not in my position in life and you're old and forgetful, if you don't have a good memory, you need to get yourself a Blue to keep the record for you. Okay. So that's what I have to
Well,
say.
you know, that is a part of one of the problems that we have in our community. That boy, we selectively forget the harm that has been done to us over and over again by certain people, you know. But we a lot of times can remember what we do to each other, but we can't remember what others have done to us. And I think that we need to have a much better memory. I agree with you. These things need to be presented, not just at one meeting, over and over and over again at every community meeting. And see, the part that kills me, you're gonna have a bunch of us up here who gonna be protecting. Well, you can't ask them that. You have to respect them. So I have to respect somebody who's supporting taking away my rights. I just want to process those types of statements because that's what people are saying to you.
Exactly. When you're not being diplomatic, Black folks always have to be diplomatic. But
that's
Black folk can do and say to you anything that they want to do and say to you, and you're supposed to be diplomatic. Well,
also in the words of Mayor Duggan,
I'm sorry.
And also in the words of Mayor Duggan and the business chamber, civil.
Yes.
Don't forget, because this is what civility looks like.
Yes. Right. Right. So unfortunately, we know what civility looks like, and we know where it got us. It got us nothing, and it's not a good look.
No,
it's not a good look at all. No. I'm not going to go all the way back there, but we know what that looks like.
That's right. Where they trying to take us back to?
Yes.
That part where they trying to take us back to.
And unfortunately, you know what? Unfortunately, there was a time. It almost brings tears to my eyes. There was a time when that was the best that we could do. But we know that they did that so that we could be where we are to do better.
That's right.
And I'll be damned if I'm going to let them down. I am not going to be the one to say, no, I'm going to continue to do what was done in the old days because this is what I choose to do. They put me in a position to do better. And I sat in some of the same classrooms that they sat in. I studied some of the same books that they've studied. I've been in the room when they've been talking. And in the words of Mrs. Obama, they are not that smart. They are not that smart.
Right about that.
Evidence of that is that it took one of the major silk stocking law firms of this country 474 pages to say what could have been said in 10 or less.
That part. And we know that they will be paid, they will get paid well. Also, I just put in the comments, the link to the Financial Review Commission meeting today at 1 o'clock. So when you go on that webpage, everyone, go scroll down if you're on your phone, but if you're on your laptop or whatever, you'll probably see it right there in the middle of the page. It will say join the meeting. Okay, so you could join the meeting today at 1 o'clock. That is the link for the public to join the Financial Review Commission. If you want to have a better understanding of the cost and the actual cost, a more realistic cost of the charter, that the impact that it will have on the city of Detroit, please join our meeting today. Also, you know, pay attention to the response that we get from the Financial Review Commission. This is an important meeting. Hopefully we will, I'm hoping by the end of this week, but as Barbara said, we don't know if the judge will make a decision, render a decision that early around whether or not the question to vote yes or no on the charter will remain on the ballot. But I'm hoping that that actually does happen by the end of the week. So that's what I have for you guys. We will be back here tomorrow at 8 o'clock. I want to try to see if we could talk a little bit more about these elections. We're 71 days away, I believe, from the August 3rd election. Also, this week, Small for Detroit campaign, we will be canvassing Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday as the weather permits. If not, we definitely have some phone banking. You could join in on a phone banking. I can set you up with that if you so desire. So make sure you either go to electnicolesmall.com, electnicolesmall.com, and you could sign up as a subscriber, or you can text me at this 313-451-2228 and let me know if you're interested in volunteering. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so much, Barbara, for joining me today. I always love when you're a guest.
Thank you for having me, and it's always nice to be with you.
All right. So I'll see you at 1 o'clock today, Barbara, and I'll see everyone else tomorrow at 8 o'clock. Have a great day and be safe.
Good day now.
Good day.